Welcome to our live event. Today's topic is working from home, risky applications, extensions, and shadow IT. I'll be your host. My name is Grover Ryder. I'm the Chief Marketing Officer at Spin Technologies. And we do have a large number of people here today on this event. We're really lucky today to have David Asatryan as our speaker here. He's an expert. All the stuff he says there is true. He does drink a lot of coffee. He does eat French fries, and that's what he eats every day. I've never seen him snowboard, but I'll take his word for it. In addition to that, he's a certified security expert. He's a G Suite expert, a Microsoft Office 365 expert, and a ransomware expert. And he's going to guide us through today's topic. David, over to you.
Thank you for the introduction, Grover. So again, I'm David, product manager here at Spin Technologies, and it's an absolute pleasure to be here. So last week we covered the concept of phishing, where perpetrators are able to gain entry to organizations through emails and other methods. If you missed it, feel free to check it out on our YouTube channel. And today we will shift to talk about risky applications and extensions. We consider this to be the next frontier of individuals and groups with malicious purposes gaining entry to organizations, which is why we thought it's critical for us to share this information. The focus of this conversation will mostly be on G Suite and Office 365 applications. And there's a wide range of them. I'm certain most of you are already familiar with these third-party apps and actually use a lot of them. And with the majority of companies moving to the cloud, these number of SaaS apps has extremely increased as well. There are applications that can help automate and improve most workflows, whether it's importing data from your inbox to your CRM, or even a collaborative workspace where you can call, video chat, create documents together, and so forth. And I personally use a lot of them myself. You can actually see some of them here on screen. Extensions. Extensions are also very popular. They allow us to add customizations to our browser experience, whether it's live trackers, security tools, or we all use the ad blockers as well. These extensions can work in the background or can be accessed instantaneously with a simple click on your browser. And we're all very aware of the current situation, and I hope that we're all viewing this webinar from home right now. Understandably, everyone is constantly searching for live updates. We keep asking the question, what's the number of global cases now? How much has it increased in my country? And there are now even extensions available, such as the one you see here, that you can connect to your browser and see the live status of this pandemic. So you get a live status and a live map to check it out through each region. Now, as an overview, you can see that there are over 9,000 applications just between the G Suite and Office 365 marketplaces. And it's a list that keeps on growing. Along with that, there are also over 188,000 Chrome extensions available. And a statistic that we found as a surprise is that 87% of these extensions actually have less than 1,000 installations. And if you find that surprising, this one will be cool as well. Only 50% of these the extensions have fewer than 16 installs. And you're looking at these numbers, so why can it be frightening? Well, these applications and extensions are very easy to install and connect. All it takes is a few clicks, right? You go to the marketplace, you click install, you provide some permissions, and boom, it's ready to go. So the unfortunate reality is that each and every one of these applications can lead to a potential data breach or loss. When we're giving away access to our data to in return receive ease in our working environments, what we're not doing is asking the questions, what if this application is not secure? Should I be trusting them with my data? What if this is actually a malicious application that simply wants to get access to my data? And these are even more important questions to ask now during this pandemic, since the number of malicious attacks have increased. So let's check out a situation where an attack occurs. Let me play this video right here. And we're currently looking at the dashboard of a malicious hacker who is sending a phishing email to an Office 365 account. He sends the email, and we shift over to the user's mailbox to see the email. And it receives from the security team. You can see the Microsoft logo there, with the subject important security notice. The email encourages the user to get this new anti-spam pro app, which will help keep the email more secure. So the user clicks on the link, authenticates, and now he's asked for a scope of permissions requested by the application. And being a spam filter app, the requested permissions are not out of the ordinary, so the user approves. So what happened here? The user actually gave permissions for the hacker, who now has access to the data and all emails. The hacker can retrieve this information or delete it if they want to, but in this case, they choose to run a ransomware application. So now we head back to the email of the user, and you can notice all emails being encrypted immediately in real time, one by one. And once this finishes, the user will receive another email from the security team. Let's see. Yep, there it is. All right, let's click on the email, and it states that in order to retrieve your data, you must make a payment. So what was the purpose of this video? The purpose of this video was to show that applications can be risky. Once the user in the video had given the application access, the hacker had immediately control over the data. And we want to give you 5 tips on what to watch out for when installing applications and extensions to make sure you do not experience what that user went through. So it's important to note for applications with bad reviews, questionable developers that have no history, when you're being asked for an extensive amount of permissions, when you're interested in applications that are not in any verified marketplaces and are installed through their websites or other means, and lastly, their update frequency. So let's go through them one by one and start with the bad reviews. And I'm certain we all look at the ratings of applications before installing. Most people see that an application has a rating over 4.5 out of 5, and it immediately instills confidence in them that it's safe to use. However, it's necessary to go more in depth. So it's important to review the actual reviews themselves. How many people have rated the application? If it's just one 5-star review, that should not be enough evidence that it is a safe application. If there are a lot of reviews, what are they saying? Are they critiques? Because you can get feedback from other users who are using this application and have assessed them, and can also gain insight as to how useful this application is for its purpose. Another thing to watch out for is fake reviews. So it's important to review the review history. When saying fake reviews, we mean you don't want an application with the reviews such as the one you see on screen. It gives feedback on what the it doesn't give feedback on what the application actually does, and it appears that these reviews are not actual just by looking at their wording. You should also take a look at when the reviews were made. So these ones, as you can see, are done in 2014, which helped bolster their 5-star rating, but it is not recent. And these applications change over time. They're constantly updated. So it's important to keep watch for the recent reviews and make an assessment out of those. And quantity and quality matters. You want to see a lot of reviews, but besides that, also get an understanding of why an application was given such a review. Next, let's talk about questionable developers. So the questions you should be asking are, who created this application? How reputable is the source? Does the developer have other applications which are known and well established, or is this their first application? And if it is their first application, it's an alert for you to dig deeper and find out more about the developer and whether you should grant access to your data to such an unknown source. This ties in with developer history as well. Has this developer been around for months or years creating applications, or did they suddenly just recently appear in the marketplace? Now, let's say you analyze the reviews, they were good, did research on the developer, and that worked out as well, and you're ready to move forward with the installation of the app or extension. What is the application asking for? It is crucial to not provide more access than what is needed for an app to perform its intended services. Let's take a look at the screenshot here. Here we have a tool that allows you to easily create campaigns, for example. When installing, it asks for the following sets of permissions. read, send, delete, and manage your email, as you can see. And anytime you see the words delete and manage, it should be a cause for alarm. Why does an application providing email campaigns, for example, ask for such access to delete and manage my emails? So one thing to consider is, are other apps performing similar services, asking for these same permissions? Why are they asking for these permissions? So if it is sending out email campaigns, why does it need access to other services besides your email? Looking here, you can see it also asks for the ability to manage your Google Drive and your spreadsheets. So what we recommend is going back to the application overview, checking its purpose again to see how all of these permissions are incorporated with what is being provided. And after all that, assess the other factors as well, and then choose to provide access. And you can also come across applications and extensions that you want to install that are not in any reputable marketplace. And what do you do? What should you do in this case? The G Suite and Office 365 marketplaces themselves actually have certain criteria that developers must meet before they are approved to publish their applications, such as having a published privacy policy, terms of service, and data monitoring and deleting policies. So when applications are published in unverified marketplaces or are available only from developers or off market, for the safety of your data, we recommend paying special attention and doing further research to ensure that these apps and extensions are compliant, explicitly state how they will treat your data, and also state the terms that you agree to upon granting access to them. Lastly, it's also key to understand the update frequency of an application or extension. The frequency of updates to an application indicates how well the developer supports this. Applications with more frequent updates are less likely to experience functional and security issues. That being said, before updating an application, it is important to understand what's changing. This is an opportunity for a risky change, which is why we recommend comparing the current and updated versions to detect and assess the changes that are being implemented, whether you're giving away more access or the way your data is treated has changed. So with those 5 tips at hand, we also recommend the use of AI to help you in reviewing these applications and extensions. The reason for that, AI removes human subjectivity, which can often affect the review and assessment of each application. AI does it consistently and without any outside factors that can cause bias. Here's an example of a solution that can provide that. It makes a scan of all applications and extensions, and for each app, as you can see on the screen, you are able to see what sort of access it has, along with how secure and compliant it is and how it can impact your business. So we recommend to check out how you can incorporate AI to improve your application assessments. And that's about it from my end. Grover, passing it back to you.
Thank you very much, David. So thank you very much for this information. I think this is pretty useful stuff. It's very timely. What we're going to do now is we're going to open this up for questions and answers. If you go to your GoToWebinar taskbar, you'll see that there is a question and answer tab. And if you can't find it, go to your task tray. You'll see the gold or blue asterisk. You can open it up. There's a question and answer tab. We do have several questions here. The first question is, why aren't all the apps in the G Suite Marketplace or the Microsoft App Source just automatically considered safe? So it's in their marketplace, David, and people, and I got a couple of people saying this, I thought they'd all been checked and verified if it's in the marketplace.
Yeah, okay, so good question. And these developers, they must, like you said, adhere to certain requirements before submitting their applications on these marketplaces, such as complying with the marketplace's own listing requirements, their program policies, and their developer agreements. And this is an extra step to weed out all the bad applications, but it's not enough. At the end of the day, these marketplace apps are developed, offered, and controlled by third-party developers. So it's these third-party developers that are the ones who have access to your data, which is why you should never assume that an application is safe since it's in a verified marketplace, such as the G Suite or Office one. Along with that, if an application is in the marketplace, the developer checks out and they have great ratings, and everything's all set, there's also the worry of security. What if this application gets breached or hacked? Since this third-party application has access to my data, so do the hackers now. So it's important to have an assessment of each app, regardless of what marketplace it's in.
Thank you very much. To be honest, that's a surprise. You're right. And I think that there's more questions coming on that. So you mentioned the use of AI. You said you recommended the use of artificial intelligence. Tell me how artificial intelligence works to tell if the app is safe or not. What exactly is going on?
Got it. So AI algorithms identify these third-party SaaS apps and Chrome extensions and look for abnormal behavior and provide, possible notifications and remediation of potential security threats. So each app is assessed numerous times, not once, because they are constantly changing, more access, more permissions. And what AI looks at is factors such as the impact on business performance, security risk, and compliance risks. So all the factors we have mentioned here, along with some other ones: how many users are accessing the application? How are the reviews? Is it compliant? Does it have a privacy policy? So all this information is collected and assessed to figure out whether an application is safe to use or not. And then these are all given to administrators who can use this information to manage access, restrict access if needed, and so forth.
Thank you very much. Next question. Some applications by well-known developers such as Microsoft have actual poor ratings. So if it's actually developed by Microsoft, it's posted in there and it says it's developed by Microsoft or by Google, and it has a poor rating, how does that happen? Because these guys have tremendous QA, they have great developers. How does it happen that app would have a poor reputation and poor rating?
Yep, and I completely see how this can come off as a surprise. You see Microsoft, and you immediately gain confidence from the application. But these apps even can have lower ratings for a number of reasons. One reason, for example, is the application is not performing its intended services correctly, or there's a lot of bugs which are not being corrected because it's hard to get in touch with the Microsoft department. Maybe they outsourced this app and they are not able to work on it now. Or maybe even the fact that these applications are asking for an excess amount of permissions. With security at a large risk now, everyone checks the scope of permissions that are being requested for each app, and it has a lot of effect on the ratings people give for these applications.
Okay, next question is, and by the way, that was a surprise to me. I actually kind of thought that if it said, it was delivered by Microsoft, it was definitely developed by Microsoft. But I think you're right. I actually have run into some where my answer back from Google, for example, is that that was developed by a third party, even though it says by Google. So it's interesting that they can outsource that and actually may not have as much control. The next question is, and I think it's going to be similar: are Chrome browser extensions the same as applications?
They're similar, but there's also some differences between them. So Google Chrome extensions, they extend the functionality of Google Chrome itself and the websites being viewed in it. They can add buttons to the toolbar, they can intercept web requests, and just in general affect how a browser behaves. Applications, SaaS applications, is where you use a UI for the software provided. Commonly, again, through a web browser to perform some services. Now, what is similar between them for sure is that they both require a scope of permissions to connect with your user account. You're getting these services, special for your needs, and in order to be able to perform their necessary functions, they must request these access rights.
Thank you. The next question is, what if I want to stop employees from installing these things? How do I control my employees from installing applications or extensions?
Got it. So there are services that can provide assistance here. Spin Audit has a tool that can be of help as well. So you need to look for a solution where you can create security policies specific to your own organization, restricting employees from installing apps or extensions based on their names, their categories, or the risk assessment scores given to them by these AI algorithms. So it's really difficult and time consuming to manage a high number of apps and extensions, especially even with the fact that these apps from the marketplaces mentioned, the G Suite and Office 365 ones, they can be installed for domain or individual use. And with a high number of users, these apps just keep growing. So it's crucial to be able to manage and assess these applications, and also even create automated workflows from the solutions you use.
Okay, so it sounds like it's a little bit of a crazy world for these apps and extensions. Which would you recommend? I've got a couple of different questions. How do we find a recommended list? Which does Spin recommend? How do you believe it should happen? You know, what are you recommending?
Yeah, I have my general policy. So my general policy is to only install business critical applications, what I need to perform the services that are assigned to me, especially because of the fact that I'm installing it to my work account. So this means no games, sports, or applications that I can work without. Because even if they are safe, it's important to only have applications that you need, also to limit any possible impact on your work environment.
Okay, I got a question here, and this is specifically coming from a large enterprise. When it comes to enterprise security, what are your top 3 risks? What do you think they should focus on? What should IT focus on are the top risks for enterprise security in this area?
And starting off with these applications, these are, like we said in the beginning, this is the next frontier of how data breaches can occur. Access is given most of the time without batting a second eye, or if you have an enterprise and a large amount of users, it gets very tricky and difficult to track each and every application. So this is what we meant by automation and using AI. You need a solution in place that can perform all these services for you in real time, 24/7, eliminating the need for manual assessments.
Thank you very much. So we do have some more webinars. This is a series of these webinars. We're going to send everybody a re-invite for the new ones because we've actually posted some new ones since we started this series. So we've got a new one, which is the best work from home practices from around the globe. That's going to be Thursday, April 16th. And of course, next week we have what are your workers really doing at home? We're going to resend some invitations. We've been asked by people to update these because we have a large number of people who in IT who are managing work from home. Thank you very much for your attendance today. We know a lot of businesses and a lot of people attending this are under stress right now. We appreciate your attending, and we will do the best we can to get this video out to you. Thank you very much. And David, thank you very much for hosting this and giving the information. I learned a lot and I wasn't expecting to. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Grover.
Thank you. This event's being ended now, and we will send everybody a recording.